The Ottoman Empire was founded in the 1300s by the Turkish. It existed in the Balkan region of the Middle East from the 1300s until 1923 when the Young Turk government took over. In the early 1600s, the Ottoman Empire, at the height of its power, conquered Armenia. The larger portion of the population was absorbed into the Ottoman Empire. The large size of the empire created economic opportunity for the Armenians. Armenian presence grew in the Ottoman capital, Constantinople, as they established themselves as traders and merchants. Abdul Hamid II was the 34th Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, and he was also the last Sultan to effectively have control over it. Abdul, during his rule, oversaw the period of decline of power and extent in his empire. Between 1894 and 1896, the Sultan, trying to unite his empire under one Islamic state and believing that the woes of his empire came from foreign hostilities, massacred around 30,000 and 800,000 Armenians. This event, named after the Sultan, is called the Hamidian Massacres. The Young Turks were a reformist and nationalist party founded in the early 1900s. In 1908, the Young Turk Revolution dethroned Abdul Hamid II and brought with it the gradual change of the government. The Young Turks also began to base their nationalist ideology on pseudo-scientific race theories, where one race is valued over another. The term Turks began to replace Ottoman, and the Armenians were considered inferior. Although mass Armenian massacres were fairly common in the Ottoman Empire, April 22, 1915 is considered the official date of the beginning of the Armenian genocide. The victims of the Armenian genocide were mainly the Armenians, who had been living on the Armenian plateau for over 4,000 years. The ancient people of the land were persecuted for their Christianity, their ethnicity, and their involvement with Russia, the sworn enemy of the Ottoman Empire. The Armenian genocide, which is also known as the Armenian Holocaust, refers to the mass massacre, rape, torture, and deportation of the Armenians during 1915 to 1918 in the Turkish Empire. So how can civilians of the Ottoman Empire change their minds so quickly about Armenians who have lived alongside them for hundreds of years? The answer is propagandas. The Turkish government began to mass-produce propagandas that portrayed Armenians as backstabbers for being alleged to the Russians. During the 3 years of the Armenian genocide, scholars estimate that between 1 million to 1.5 million Armenians and thousands of displaced Armenians were killed. The genocide also affected other ethnic minorities. Scholars estimate that about 500,000 Assyrian and 350,000 Anatolian Greeks were also killed.
The Committee of Union and Progress, or Young Turks unofficially, wanted to unite all Turkish people under one language and one religion. This perfect new empire would be called Turan, and many Turks supported the idea of a purely Turkish empire. The Armenians were hated for many reasons. The Turks were mainly Muslims, while many Armenians were Christian. The Armenians were also very well educated compared to the Turks. Their cultures were very different, and Turks regarded Armenians as strangers preventing their perfect empire's growth, both culturally and geographically. Armenians were accused of being traitors and of helping the Christian Russians, who at the time were enemies of the Ottoman Empire. Russian troops tried to help the Armenians during the mass murders, but they had to leave in 1917 because of the Russian Revolution. Many Armenians left with them to safety, to live in the former Russian Empire area. In May 1918, Turkish empires attacked that region so that they could expand eastward and continue killing off the Armenians. Many died, but the Armenians fought back and stopped the Turkish invasion at the Battle of Sardarabad. Armenian leaders declared the Republic of Armenia independent soon after. A few Turks associated with the mass murders were assassinated by Armenians, but the Turks under Mustafa Kemal demolished Armenia, and the only surviving part became a part of the Soviet Union. Today, not many nations or people officially call the Armenian genocide a genocide for many reasons. Most countries and governments want to stay on the Turks' good side and maintain their alliances to improve foreign policy. Of course, Turkey, the successor of the Ottoman Empire, refuses to call the events in Armenia genocide. About 18 countries out of more than 200 officially recognize the Armenian genocide. Uruguay was the first in 1965, and Chile was the most recent in 2007. Most countries have conflicting positions about the events in Armenia, like Spain, Brazil, and Australia. Only 43 of 50 states in the USA recognize it. Obama himself, back when he was a US Senator, said it was clearly a genocide, but refrained from using that word genocide after he was elected. The American Committee for Relief in the Near East was established in 1915. They donated over $100 million and helped Armenian refugees and orphans. The Armenian National Committee of America continues to support the Armenians today and continues to update the world on their issues. Hitler, during the invasion of Poland, reasoned that since not much was done to help the Armenians, that no one would notice the ethnic cleansing of the growing German Empire either. He said, and I quote, "Only in such a way will we win the vital space we need." Who still talks nowadays about the Armenians?